Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel and my 1980s horror movie series. 1982 horror movies specifically at the moment. So the movie we're going to take a look at today is actually one that I don't have the physical media for. I actually streamed this movie for free on Tubi. Um, that movie is Boarding House from 1982, Boarding House. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So Boarding House is a 1982 American supernatural slasher film, directed, written, and starring musician John Wintergate. Its plot follows a group of aspiring actresses and models who begin to die mysteriously in a Los Angeles boarding house, which was once the site of a series of bizarre deaths. It carries the distinction of being the first horror film to be shot on video. So that's kind of interesting. So the movie opens on we get a we get like a log, a computer log that's telling us this. But on September 18th, 1972, Dr. Hoffman and his wife, both of whom specialized in the study of telekinesis and the occult, are found dead in their Mulholland Drive ranch home on the night of their anniversary party. Their deaths ruled a double homicide or ruled a double suicide, were witnessed by the couple's 13-year-old daughter, Debbie, who was institutionalized due to a subsequent nervous breakdown. A couple who subsequently purchased the home also befell a gruesome, unexplained deaths in it, as does the following buyer, Herman Royce. In 1982, the residence is reopened as a boarding house by Jim Royce, nephew of Herman, who has inherited the home. Jim, a playboy who himself is obsessed with the occult and telekinesis, places a newspaper ad encouraging young, single women to move in. Various young aspiring actresses and models, Sandy, Susie, Cindy, Gloria, Pam, and Terry, respond and move into the home. After they settle in, an English woman, Debbie, arrives pleading to move in. She agrees to stay in the sole remaining cramped spare room in the house. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, the beginning of Boarding House from 1982. As far as the cast goes, we have I think I'm missing a word. Something Kala Sue is Victoria Spelling. I missed the first name. Alexandra Day is Debbie Hoffman. Mary McKinley is Cindy. John Wintergate is James Jim Royce slash Gardner. Joel Ryder Rittern as Joel Weintraub. Brian Brodolin as Richard. Mary McKinley as Cindy. Tracy O'Brien as Susie. Roseanne Woods as Gloria. Cindy Williamson as Pam. And Jim Vincenzo as Officer Paul. So yeah, that's a lot of cast. Excuse me. So that's to set up the premise and the cast of the 1982 supernatural slasher film Boarding House. One thing interesting about this movie, well, it was the first to be shot on video. They actually converted it to film and put it. It had a theatrical release at some point. I think that was actually in 1983 though. But that's kind of interesting how they shot it on video, and then had to convert it to film to theatrically release it. I'm not sure which version I saw. It might have been the one that was converted to film. I'm not really sure. It was whatever was free on Tubi. That's what I watched, but I don't have the I know there's a Blu-ray out there that has like three different cuts of the movie, including one that's over 2 hours long. But anyway, getting into my thoughts on this movie, it's really not for me, if I'm being honest about it. Again, I don't want to sound like a douche or anything, but shot on video horror movies just really aren't they're just not my jam. It's just a little too low quality for me to be engaged in the story or the movie. And while this isn't completely shot on video in the way that you might think, that's why I wonder if I didn't see the theatrical release. But still, I did not enjoy it. It was kind of a slog to get through for me. Um, it's about an hour and a half long, the version I watched. I think it was 88 minutes, 89 minutes, something like that. But it felt like 189, frankly. Um, but anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the things that I liked about the movie, because there were a few things that I liked. There are a number of kills in this movie. As a slasher, I would say there's 6 to 8 people that gets killed on screen, and it does show a good amount of blood and gore. I would say with a lot of those kills, not all of them. One of them is not an execution, an electrocution in a bathtub, where somebody's trying to get something out of the bathtub, and then some. I forget if it was an iron or something falls into the tub, not like a curling iron. I mean, not like a flattening iron, or some kind of something electric. I can't remember exactly what it was. Then somebody purposely hangs them, not purposely, but supernaturally, is possessed to hang themselves. So I mean, you don't get blood and gore there, but there's another scene right after that one where a guy's literally disemboweling himself, like pulling out his guts, and that's pretty gory. So I give the movie that much credit. They're not cutaway kills necessarily. They're not goreless, they're not bloodless. You definitely get a good amount of blood and gore in the kills. At least 6 of the 8 kills that you get on screen here. So that's a pro. There's a lot of backside and topless nudity throughout this movie, and not just by the women, but including the main actor, John Wintergate. You see his rear end at one point. Um, but yeah, I mean, most of the women are, if they're not nude, they're wearing clothes that, if they get wet, you can basically see through it. They're not wearing bras. They're taking each other's tops off in the pool, that kind of thing. So lots of nudity in this movie. So if that's something you're looking for, which for a slasher movie, I know that's kind of a thing that you expect with it. There is a lot of topless and, like I said, backside nudity throughout the movie. Gratuitous for sure. There's not really a point to it other than the fact that they're at this boarding house with a pool out back and like a Playboy, um, or what do they call them? Yeah, Playboy and Jim who opens it. And there's a lot of fooling around. I mean, I think Jim takes his turn with at least 3 or 4 of the different women that moves into the house there. So, but yeah, lot of nudity here. The ending twist, I have to say, I didn't see it coming. Now that might say more about me than a compliment to the movie, but I didn't. I just wasn't thinking in those terms, in part because I wasn't that engaged in the movie. But it was kind of an interesting turn that happens towards the end when you find out who's doing the killing, and how it all ties back to the beginning of the movie. And then my final pros, I have to say, I didn't hate the music. I thought the music was actually very early 80s, very catchy, very rock, very fun and cheesy. And the score of this movie as well was quite good, I would say, for a supernatural slasher movie. So definitely no complaints as it relates to the beats that come out of this movie, both the music that's played and the score of the music or the movie. So those are my pros for Boarding House. As far as cons go, as I said earlier, it's a little too low quality overall for me. Between the performances, the editing, the story, and the plot, and the very weak practical effects that they use, I just had a hard time staying engaged in this movie. I was checking my phone, I was checking other things as it was going on. I don't like doing that, but I couldn't help it. I just didn't. I didn't feel a connection to any character, to any part of the story, really, to the setting, to the atmosphere. There was just nothing that kept me engaged. I have to say that also the movie opens and ends with a computer green screen, like a DOS. If any of you are old enough to remember like an old DOS program, you get the beep 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 every time there's a keystroke that's made. And at the beginning of this movie, you get that for probably 3 or 4 minutes, just constantly. As they're giving us the backstory of this house and who's been killed in it, in part to save money. They can't actually show it. But they do it in the most annoying way with this computer screen and the sound of it more than the computer screen, where they're typing a file. It's like a police file or something, and they say case closed at the end after the person was found murdered, that kind of thing. And then they have it a little bit for about a minute or less at the end as well to wrap up the movie, a little blurb. So kind of a prologue and an epilogue. That was very annoying. I just, especially at the beginning, I couldn't stand the fact because they had like 3 or 4 paragraphs that they were typing, and you heard the beep beep beep, or like you used to. Like I said, if you're old enough to remember how that was way back in the day, that was really annoying. I did not enjoy that. The movie has a lot of scenes that just are happening. They don't really have much to do with the overall what ends up being the ending twist or the murders or anything. There's just a lot of scenes happening with arguments or things happening where the girls are crying or screaming because they had a bad dream, and Jim has to kind of come in and ask them what's wrong and stuff. And there's no transition between the scenes. Really poor editing in this movie. I'm not even sure they had an editor. Where scenes just kind of end abruptly. There's some scenes where like there's one scene I can remember where Jim is saying, "Well, what's wrong? Well, we'll take care." And all of a sudden, on to the next scene on the highway of Los Angeles or wherever they shot this movie, and it's like did nobody proofread, not proofread this, but did nobody watch it before they released it? I don't know. Like I said, it's hard. It's kind of expected because they made this movie for $10,000, shot on video, extremely low budget. So I kind of get it, but I can't. I also can't deny the fact that it wasn't for me because of those things. But that editing and that abrupt those abrupt scenes ending, or I should say those scenes ending abruptly, was it left you confused as far as why or what was going on. The movie has a really bad effect of this sort of red thing, this image that they put over the camera lens. That's supposed to signify. They do it a lot when they show the front of the house. It's supposed to signify the supernatural presence that's there, basically. It's laughably bad, though. It's just like a big slice of red cheese or something that cuts right through the screen, and it looks very cheesy, very just very bad effect there. And then the movie, just like I said, it lacks any sort of atmosphere, any sort of setting that gets you excited. I mean, it's a lot of there's three different settings basically. There's a beach setting in a couple of scenes. There's the like the street setting of Los Angeles or whatever, and then there's the setting in this house. But none of them are like another character in the movie or anything that would get you engaged in it. So I realize that this might be one of those movies for some people that it's so bad it's good. I know there are a lot of people that love these shot on video, very low budget slasher movies, and that's fine. If you're one of those people, I would recommend checking this one out, if nothing else for the nudity, the kills and the gore, and the music as well, as I said in my pros. But if you're somebody more like me that needs a certain level of quality, not a high level, not Hollywood studio quality, but at least a certain level of filming quality and editing, then this movie's probably not. I'm not going to recommend this movie for you, frankly. But with that being said, I'm going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 10. 4.5 out of 10 for Boarding House from 1982. It's just not for me. I don't foresee myself adding it to my collection, even though I know there are several releases of it that exists out there. But I just don't see myself rewatching it again, to be honest with you. So 4.5 out of 10 for Boarding House. Go ahead and comment down below if you enjoy this movie, if you've seen it, or if you enjoy the shot on video kind of low budget movies. Comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out for the future and the content on my channel going forward. With all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying my 1982 horror movie reviews as part of my overall 1980s horror series. And as always, stay scared. Bye.